Hi vinyl community, it's John again. This is my video response to Eric EJD715's contest thread. 5 favourite guitarists. This is really hard to do. Whichever 5 guitarists I'm going to name today, this list may change again tomorrow. And it's really hard because there's a lot of great guitarists out there, and lots of different genres as well too. So we'll go with the ones that I've got here. I'm going to show some of the ones that didn't make my list, not because I don't like them, but they're up there somewhere, but I haven't put them on the top 5. This is a really good record, and I think, in terms of Judas Priest and the music that they've made, Glenn Tipton is just an incredible guitarist, and this particular album is stellar, and the guitar work is fantastic. They really sort of stepped up their game with this. But I'm not going to include him in my top 5. He'd probably be there perhaps next week. Another guitarist which I really like is Steve Howe, and he's so significant because he really is sort of part of the sound of Yes, and if you take him away, there's a really sort of strong missing ingredient. So he's one of my favourites, but he hasn't made the top 5 today. So I will start at number 5 then today, and there's a guy called Frank Dunnery. He's the guitarist in It Bites, or he was. He's not now, he's a solo artist now, and unfortunately a lot of his solo work that he does now, he doesn't really play that much guitar, not that you'd notice anyway. But when he was doing this stuff, he was just incredible, and it's strange how he seems to not be interested in playing guitar anymore the way he used to. A track, if you want to check him out, is a track called Once Around the World. It's like 15 minutes long, so it's quite a long sort of progressive rock style track, but there's a lot of guitar playing in it. It's pretty good to listen to, and what I like about him is he has his own style. Yeah, can't say enough good about him. Number 4, I'm going to include Andy Taylor. Here's Andy Taylor. He's most famous for being the guitarist in Duran Duran. You may not associate Duran Duran as being sort of guitar-orientated band, but he certainly had his presence there. And on this album, Power Station, yeah, that's certainly guitar-orientated music, and yeah, he's even done some pretty good solo stuff. I like it anyway, and I like him. I sort of respect him as a guitar player. And yeah, my youth, sort of 13, 14-year-old, I spent a lot of time listening to Duran Duran, so yeah, I got a special interest in his music. That brings me on to number 3, I guess. Eddie Van Halen. What can you say about Eddie Van Halen? There's a school of thought that says that once Eddie Van Halen had sort of burst onto the scene, that most hard rock guitarists after him all tried to sound a bit like him, which is why you've got this kind of like shredding stuff that's sort of fairly well prevalent in your list, Eric, of guitarists. And I don't know, I think there's probably something to that. But well, yeah, so he's perhaps one of my favourite guitarists. I put him at number 3. Next one, number 2, is Yngwie Malmsteen. This is a really good album, Rising Force. I don't know if you know much about him. He's Swedish. He played in a band called Alcatraz, amongst other things. he's pretty much based his whole entire career on relying very much heavily on the style and the look of Ritchie Blackmore. Um, but he's still a phenomenal guitarist. Check him out. There's a good track on here. Well, they're all good tracks, but the first track, Rising Force, by Yngwie Malmsteen, is really good. It sounds, I think, here we go. I think it relies so much heavily on this album by Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow. I mean, these are almost like two peas in a pod. So this happened first, this happened later. But yeah, great guitarist. I'm going to show now, before I go on to my number one, this compilation that I've got. I've always had, well, I've had this for a long time. As a kid, I used to enjoy listening to this and playing it on my record player. And it has a lot of these sort of neoclassical guitar players, shredders I call them, Marty Friedman, Greg Howe, Racer X, Jason Becker, Joey Tafola. I used to really enjoy listening to that. I think, to be honest with you, there'd come a point where I'd kind of heard enough and I didn't need to hear much more, so I don't listen to that kind of stuff anymore like I used to, but it was really great stuff. If you haven't got this compilation, look out for it, it's good. And my number one spot, perhaps someone that's slightly different from the ones that have gone before. It is Ronnie Wood in the Faces. I like Ronnie Wood because he, again, like so many of the others, he's got his own presence in the music, and he really made the sound of the Faces. And I think it's telling that he was sort of rewarded and offered that spot in the Rolling Stones. Like, that's testament to how good he is at what he does, and that he has this kind of loose style that he enjoys playing, and he does this whole sort of bottleneck stuff, and it's great. I think he's certainly a worthy guitarist of being in my number one spot today. Ask me tomorrow, it might be different. Another couple of other guitarists I'd like to mention that didn't make my list, but they're certainly way up there. Jeff Waters from Annihilator, fantastic guitarist, very clinical, very sort of tight style, but interesting to listen to. Another one is Adrian Smith in Iron Maiden. I think the work that he does together with Dave Murray is really, again, very good. Dave Murray's a fantastic guitarist too. I mean, the two of them together make a very strong sound. Anyway, so that's my list. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing other people's responses. Thanks very much.